A big point for debate in the world is if robots will eventually take over. We've heard the horror stories, but are those realistic? Self-driving cars are a type of robot as well. They are becoming more prevalent, and their technology is improving. Will self-driving cars really take over the world? Here's what you need to know. Self-driving cars are still far away. Apart from electrification, autonomous driving has been the only topic of conversation in the automotive industry for the past 5 years, according to industry observers. Car manufacturers began dropping the terms self-driving and mobility from their product presentations. Uber and its competitors began poaching engineers from university robotics labs in large numbers, and Tesla fans began arguing on Twitter about whether the company's autopilot system should be referred to as autonomous. As far as the rest of the automotive industry, companies such as Cadillac, Mercedes, and Volvo have introduced vehicles that, while not completely self-driving, are more or less capable of doing so on highways, as long as drivers maintain a constant level of vigilance and nothing out of the ordinary occurs along the way. After a Tesla car crashed in the United States, killing 2 people, the debate over the capabilities and safety of today's self-driving technologies reignited once again. Tesla automobiles are equipped with an autopilot feature that monitors surrounding traffic and lane markings, and the company is now rolling out a more advanced full self-driving system that promises autonomous navigation, stopping at traffic lights, and other features in the future. According to investigators, it appears that no one was in the driver's seat of the vehicle at the time it crashed. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, has stated that no self-driving functions were in active use at the time of the incident. Nonetheless, the said occurrence has highlighted concerns about the safety of self-driving technology, as well as how much attention drivers must devote to their vehicles. What is a self-driving car? Considering today's driving conditions, very few changes have occurred in the past few years. The prospect of safely dozing off behind the wheel on long drives remains a distant fantasy, even though traditional car makers are collaborating with startups such as Waymo, Cruise, Argo, and Zoox on technology. You probably hear a lot less about self-driving cars now than you did a few years ago. What is the reason for the radio silence? An enormous number of difficult challenges must be resolved, all of which conspire to push back the implementation of the technology. In fact, solutions to these problems may fundamentally alter how self-driving cars operate. Experts distinguish 6 levels of autonomous vehicle technology, ranging from level 0, a traditional car with no automation, to level 5, a fully autonomous vehicle with full automation, a vehicle that can independently do anything a human driver can. The majority of automated driving solutions, now available on the market, necessitate human participation. This categorizes them as either level 1, driver aid, such as keeping a car in a lane or controlling its speed, or level 2, passenger support, partial automation, such as steering and speed control. These capabilities are designed to be used in conjunction with a driver who is completely vigilant and ready to take control at any time. Level 3 vehicles have greater autonomy and are capable of making certain decisions on their own. Nonetheless, the driver must remain vigilant and take over in the event that the system is unable to drive. The last few years have seen a number of tragic crashes using vehicles classified as level 2 and level 3. The majority of these crashes were due to human mistake, namely mistaking these levels of automation for fully autonomous driving capabilities. It has been alleged that vehicle manufacturers and authorities have not done enough to make these systems more resistant to being hacked by distracted or distracted-like drivers. Roads are normally tidy and well-known surroundings, but what happens on them is anything but that. Humans are capable behind the wheel, but they are also imprecise and prone to making errant decisions at times. Every autonomous car will have to be able to respond to edge circumstances, as well as the myriad of idiosyncrasies and tics displayed by human drivers on a regular basis. Until 100% of vehicles on the road are fully autonomous, which makes many analysts believe it is highly unlikely in the near future. It's the kind of stuff that we can swat away without skipping a beat while driving ourselves, but putting computers in charge of it is a huge undertaking. The future of self-driving cars. In the case of increasing levels of automation, a human driver will not be required to participate in the driving task. The AI self-driving software would essentially take over for the driver in this scenario. In the 4th level, there is a quote-unquote self-driving car that has a limited range of where and when it can go, Waymo. The Waymo robo-taxi project, which is being developed by Google, is the best example of a Level 4 car. Other firms are also making substantial progress in the development of Level 4 vehicles, but these vehicles are not currently accessible for purchase by the general public on the open market. Level 5 symbolizes a totally autonomous vehicle that is capable of traveling anywhere and at any time, equivalent to what a human driver is capable of accomplishing. While the move from Level 4 to Level 5 is significantly more difficult than the transition between earlier levels, it may take years to complete. Though advancements in technology are enabling higher levels of automation to be achieved, creating a vehicle that can complete a route safely and legally without the need for human intervention continues to be a significant issue. 3 major obstacles must be solved before they can be released into the market in a safe manner: technology, government laws, and public acceptance. A crucial differentiator among high automated vehicles is the self-driving software that operates in the background. A set of machine learning algorithms and deep learning neural networks are used to create the software, which includes millions of synthetic neurons that are designed to resemble the human brain. The neural nets do not include any explicit "if X happens then do Y" programming in the way that traditional computers do. Instead, they are taught to recognize and classify objects through the use of examples from millions of movies and photographs taken in real-world driving scenarios and then tested. The more the diversity and representativeness of the data, the better they become at recognizing and responding to a variety of circumstances. Training neural networks is analogous to holding a child's hand while they cross the street and teaching them to learn by constant experience, replication, and patience, as opposed to using a computer. While these algorithms are quite accurate in detecting and classifying objects, they are still incapable of simulating the subtle complexities of driving. Autonomous vehicles must not only be able to detect and recognize humans and other objects, but they must also be able to engage with them, comprehend their behavior, and react appropriately to it. They also need to be prepared for situations in which they are unfamiliar. The task of dealing with the unexpected will be rather resistant to deep learning and training if there isn't a large enough collection of instances for all possible driving situations. What about regulations? Policymakers and regulators all over the world are straining to keep up with the rapid changes in technology. Today, the industry is mostly self-regulating, particularly when it comes to deciding whether or not the technology is safe enough to be used on public roadways. In the majority of cases, regulators have failed to offer criteria for making such conclusions. The performance of self-driving software should be tested in real-world scenarios, but this should be done after a thorough safety study and assessment has been completed. Before allowing firms to put their vehicles on public roads, regulators should develop a set of standard tests and require them to benchmark their algorithms on standard data sets before allowing them to operate. The existing legal framework in many countries does not allow for the safe commercial deployment and operation of self-driving vehicles. The national transport authorities and big business, in many cases, are leading efforts internationally to implement consistent policies that encourage innovation, while also ensuring public safety, so that people can reap the benefits of technological advancement. Those that are not may find themselves behind the times in a couple of decades. We require a tiered approach to certification, in which a self-driving system would be first examined in simulations, followed by evaluations in controlled real-world conditions. Once the vehicles have passed a particular benchmark testing, the regulators will be able to permit them to operate on public roads. The general public must also be included in choices about the deployment and adoption of self-driving vehicles. If self-driving technology is not properly regulated to maintain public safety, there's a genuine danger of losing public trust in the system. In addition to people who wish to utilize this technology, a lack of trust will have consequences for those who must share the road with them on the way. Finally, this tragedy should act as a stimulus for regulators and industry to work together to establish a strong and rigorous safety culture that will guide the development of new self-driving technology advances in the future. Autonomous vehicles would be heading in the wrong direction very quickly if this were not the case. And even when autonomous cars are run-of-the-mill, will that impact us negatively or not? We say that with technological advancement, autonomous cars are a certainty. Do you agree or not? Do you have anything to add? Let us know in the comments down below.